Guys, I just realized I haven't done like a standard tier list in forever, right? I should do one at least for every set, because it's literally free content, right? But apparently I haven't done one since set 2, so this is kind of like the perfect time to do it, because set 4 is pretty goated. It's pretty good, right? At least for standard. So, you can see I've divided up this tier list into so many lines. It's to make up for the fact that I haven't done a tier list in so long, right? But the reality is that basically everything in these top 4 lines, like the S+, S, A+ tier, A tier, they are so close, right? These are pretty much divisions inside divisions where normally there wouldn't be a division, but I decided to put one in there just to kind of differentiate it a bit, right? And make it my list look taller than it should be. So basically what I'm saying is everything that's like A or plus is pretty good. And then everything that is like B is also pretty good. Something like that, right? They're all good except if they're an F. Or if they're not an A tier deck. Or a B tier deck. Yeah, you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. So let's kind of get started. This is the English meta, because we only really care about the English meta right now. Okay? Only the English meta. And the easiest top deck right now, I'm going to just put here, Magnolia, dude. This is like S+. 100% this is going to the top. I just think it's so consistent. And it just it fixed all of Magnolia's issues. And it's just very, very consistent. It's just very consistent, very easy to play, very cheap to make. Everything about this deck right now is really, really good. People who hate Magnolia like Magnolia now. Everyone's on the kind of Magnolia train / boat, right? So it's in a really, really good place. So Magnolia, definitely like an S tier deck, right? And then let's kind of look at the other decks. What are some other decks? Because I made it so long, unfortunately, I have to scroll a bit, right? So easy F tier deck. Let's put something straight to the F tier, and that is Ballista. Not much to say, right? It doesn't do much. It deserves to be there. So does Greedon. Let's just throw all of these in the F tier. Greedon got like 0 support. Pretty much, well, it did get some support, but the support it got was like so bad, it didn't fix any of the issues. It is pretty much, I want to say it's quite bad. It is really bad, right? I don't want to say it's unplayable bad, because it's so bad. Honestly, it's not good. I would never consider taking Greedon to a tournament, like, so that's pretty much it. In terms of like other S tier decks, high tier decks, let's put one like Barrow Magnus. I was thinking of putting Barrow Magnus as an S+ tier deck, but I just think like Magnolia edges it out just a bit, just like a bit, you know. I think Barrow kind of deserves to be on like the high S, like the highest S tier deck available is like a Barrow, so I think it kind of goes there is correct. And then another deck that kind of is pretty high too. I think, personally, I think a lot of people think Bastion is really good. And that's been a huge flip, like based on what it was initially, right? I've seen people put Bastion like S and S+. I actually don't like Bastion. I don't really like Bastion that much in set 4. It plays the same way as it's always been, so it's still quite effective. But I just don't think it's that consistent enough to be warranting like a Magnolia tier, right? So I'm putting it like somewhere in the A, right? A+. It's good. If it goes first, it's pretty impressive. But at the same time, I think there's a lot of other competition there that is just like very, very nice. Another high tier deck. Let's kind of put some high tier. Gravidia. Okay, Gravidia is definitely S. I think I'm a huge fan of Gravidia. I think the West is a huge fan of Gravidia. I've been seeing a lot of at least local results all being Gravidia. Regardless if it's Media World or just like a Gravidia World or just pure Gravidia, I think it's just a really, really good engine. And it's like, it kind of chills out with Barrow Magnus. Both of them kind of just retire entire fields. So against noobs, right? The noobs who don't really know how to like manage resources or play the matchup, they're just going to lose their whole field and not do anything. So I think like having that available is just very nice. And yeah, so I think this is just like a nice S tier deck. It goes off fast as well. It's not a grade 4 deck, it's a grade 3 deck. So yeah, all of its moves, it's just very similar to Barrow. I just feel like I feel like I would put it over Barrow. I don't know. Would I? Is it I think I'm biased enough to put it over Barrow? I think I am. So I'm gonna put it over Barrow. I like Gravidia so much, I'm putting it over Barrow. And yeah, before you guys say it's the tier, you gotta be no, dude, it's my tier list. It is my tier list. Okay, so it goes there. Then let's look at some Pure Light. Pure Light, one of the better decks as well. I think it goes in A+. It actually has dropped off a bit, I think, right? There are decks that kind of outpace it. But it's still pretty lethal. Like, I put it either like low tier S or like kind of high tier A. Somewhere here. Like these two are kind of interchangeable, I think. Pure Light just very straightforward in what it wants to do. And it's still very, very effective too. So, yeah, I think putting it, I think it belongs in the A tier, right? Chilling out in the A tier. Nirvana, I think, is just slightly lower than these decks, right? Playing Nirvana is quite fun nowadays. It's gotten definitely some very decent support. It's also quite scary and competitive. But in a way, it's like versus a lot of the other decks out right now that is very popular in the metagame. Losing stuff sucks, right? Losing stuff is not very fun. Again, a very linear game plan as well, and I don't know, I just feel like it's slightly less consistent compared to everything else, regardless of what build you play. I know I like the prayer build a lot, but I know a lot of the big Nirvana fans and a lot of the topping lists just run straight up just like the old Nirvana list, where you don't run prayer, you just run like good stuff, right? Good stuff, good consistent stuff. But overall, I just think like its power is slightly less than everything else out in the meta, because everything else kind of has like that extra X factor that really pushes it over the top, right? Magnolia, consistent multi-attacks, Gravidia, Barrow, Field Wipe, Advantage, multi-attack, etc. Bastion being able to just like pop off immediately the turn you just go right grade 3, right? And Pure Light, you just scale pretty well. Maha's like got like the ceiling of the deck is a bit lower, just a bit fatter around the edges. Moving on, we have what is another deck that we can kind of put up? Celestial, right? Celestial. This is an easy D tier, right? Until we get Lyrical Monastery set 2, this deck is pretty jank, right? It's slightly better than Willista, right? It's better than Willista, so that's very easy. Yeah, it goes to D tier. I think Felty Rosa, I think this is like a C tier along with Kyrie. These are both kind of the same, slightly inconsistent decks. Less power. Kyrie, definitely gets a huge buff later on, but that's kind of it. I think like the lyricals are pretty simple in a way, because the way I do it is I just put Willista is less than Celestial, which is less than either Felty Rosa and Kyrie. They're pretty much similar, and then that's less than Clarissa, and then Laura is somewhere here. Right, and I think that's correct. Like, Laura is still pretty scary. There's just like much more scarier decks out there. So now this is kind of regulated to just kind of like a lower tier scariness. Chilling out with Nirvana, right? Chilling out with Nirvana, but it's still a scary deck nonetheless. So that's how I like to do my lyricals. Like, nothing really changes that much when it comes to them. Maybe Clarissa will drop down at some points. The gap between Laura and Clarissa might drop at some point, but I think right now it's pretty much just that, right? It's pretty much just that. Zorga, everyone's favorite. I actually like Zorga. I actually like it. I don't think it's as bad as people think it is. I think a C tier Zorga sounds about correct, or a low B tier. I know a lot of people are going, I wish I got multi-attacks. Why did he get a 5k dragon? But I think it's fine. Like, playing with it, it's pretty cool. It's 3 attacks, but it's still usually 3 beefy attacks. I don't know. I think it deserves somewhere in like C or B. I'll have to probably reevaluate this at the end. Yeah, Bav Sagra I think is an easy. I think it's either a low A or a high B. Like the highest B maybe, or the lowest A. Just being able to go really fast. I feel like Nirvana is a tier above like Bav Sagra, so I think this is like high B, right? B for Babs, right? So I think that's about correct. And then Bruce. I think Bruce is like low A. It's pretty much low A. Maybe Nirvana goes up a bit. Maybe. Do I have to push everything? I have to see. I definitely don't think Bruce is a high B. Bruce does still get some results. It's just not as dominating as before. And it's probably like the weakest deck out of all the grade 4s possibly that got released in set 4. So overall, I think maybe like the lowest A tier is correct for this build. Orphis, I think Orphis is like a... If I put Zorga at C, I think Orphis has to be a D, which sounds a bit wrong. Actually, I think maybe I have to like bump everything up a bit. I think I have to bump everything up a bit. Let's start off with like the lowest. So Phantom Blaster Dragon, I think is still a D, right? It's got some new support, but it's not spectacular in any single way, right? It's just not spectacular at all. Hexa Orb is a B, right? Hexa Orb I think is a B. It's just out of like, if we look at like a like the big kahunas, right? Which is basically everything here, right? You're gonna see these at tournaments a lot. Hexa Orb just kind of is under that, right? It's always under that. And then Eugene will be probably under Hexa Orb, I think. I think that sounds about correct. I think everything's gonna end up in like the C's, unless they're like just a tier below, right? It's just a tier below. Flagberg, I think Flagberg is like a C for sure. I think Flagberg and Zorga are about the same. And then Overlord really hasn't been doing much, so I think that's around a C as well. So, okay, let's kind of reevaluate this tier list a bit. Did I go a bit, I don't know, am I a bit too picky about things? Maybe. Let's start from the top. So Magnolia at the top is correct. I think Barrow and Gravidia can be in any position here. They're both kind of the same thing, but I personally do like Gravidia more. Bastion definitely has to be an A+ deck, and I also think Pure Light is just better than Nirvana, just because, you know, it's got like better matchups than Nirvana has. Nirvana just doesn't really have that many good matchups. It can go fast, but I think a lot of decks can go faster, based on the same idea that it wants to do. So I think it's high A. It's not there yet, and then Lauro and Bruce are pretty much just rounds out the rest of the like A slots. Bab Sagra, top of B. I think that's correct. And then with Hexa Orb, also, like, you know, it's chilling around. I think that's correct too. Clarissa might drop. I think Clarissa might drop. Or maybe not. Maybe I need to move something up. What do I think is better than Feltier? I think Zorga. I like Zorga. I'm gonna push it up. To B. And then Orphist and the Eugene boys and the Overlords, they can all chill out and see. Because they're just okay. They're average decks. All of these decks are quite average, not in any specific order, I think. And then lastly, we've got like the Ds, which is Celestial and Phantom Blaster Dragon. I just think like Phantom Blaster got some support, but its Vanguard skill is still pretty jank. So you're basically just playing super vanilla Vanguard, in my opinion. I just don't think it's that good. And then the last in the Fs are, okay, make sure we'll list last. But Greedon, I just feel really bad when I play Greedon, and then Ballista as well. Maybe I should put Greedon at PBD level, right? Probably this is better. You know, let's leave Ballista for like the worst deck in existence, because it's like doing Zorga, but not. But maybe Greedon is slightly higher. It is like PBD level, right? PBD level. Or should I just be nice to Ballista and move her up? I don't know. Nah, I think she can stay. She only has 3 attacks. Eh? Yeah, okay, I think that's probably correct. That's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. What do you guys think of this list? Do you have any different suggestions? Keep in mind, everything that is A or higher is I think is still quite competitive. And then B, okay, you know, people will play B, but it's just there are some clear disadvantages there. And then C and all that stuff, you're just playing for fun. Play for fun, D, yeah. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. All right, bye.